Good afternoon. I'm Minwoo, a PhD candidate at Sungkyunkwan University. I'm happy to introduce our work identifying on and off CPU bottlenecks together with block samples. This is joint work with Jeongmin, Youngjin, and my advisor Jinkyu. Computing environments are continuously advancing and becoming more complex. CPUs have evolved into many-core forms, and at the same time, accelerators such as GPUs and FPGAs delegate computations. I/O devices are also becoming more high-performance and multifunctional. In the past, on-CPU events, which are instructions executed on the CPU, were apparently distinguished from off-CPU events, which are waiting events for device operations. However, due to changes in the computing environments, the types of off-CPU events are becoming more diverse, which makes performance profiling difficult. With these trends, application bottlenecks are also becoming diverse. First of all, boundary between CPU bound and I/O bound is blurred. In the past, application bottlenecks were apparently categorized as either CPU bound or I/O bound when using slow storage devices. However, with the adoption of high-performance storage devices, bottlenecks in I/O-intensive applications are shifting from blocking I/O to on-CPU events. Many optimization studies on I/O-intensive applications are achieving performance improvements by optimizing on-CPU events. Furthermore, application computations are shifting away from CPU-centric execution. By offloading computations from CPU to accelerators, the bottlenecks of compute-intensive applications have shifted from CPU to off-CPU events, such as accelerators, computation, or communication between devices. To sum up, modern applications are increasingly evolving into a mix of on-CPU event and various off-CPU events, and their interaction with the performance is continuously changing. Our main thesis is clear and straightforward. To identify true bottlenecks, both on and off-CPU events need to be considered simultaneously. However, existing profilers have two challenges. The first challenge is that existing profilers analyze application bottlenecks using only partial execution information. They identify bottlenecks through either on-CPU or off-CPU analysis. Therefore, conducting only on-CPU analysis does not help in accurately identifying the application's bottleneck. And conducting only off-CPU analysis makes it difficult to pinpoint the application codes that related to the off-CPU events. The second challenge is that assessing the impact of optimizing off-CPU events is hard with existing profilers. It is crucial to have advanced knowledge of how much performance improvement individual optimizations can potentially achieve, since identified bottlenecks may not on the critical path. Therefore, actual performance gains as expected are not always guaranteed. Many on-CPU analyses utilize Linux perf sampling. Linux perf sampling is supported by the perf subsystem in the Linux kernel, which collects execution information such as instruction pointers and call chains at periodic intervals. Linux perf sampling is a low-overhead, effective tool to analyze on-CPU behavior. When the application execution is as shown, sampling operates as follows. However, if the targeted thread invokes a blocking system call and becomes blocked, sampling is disabled and it does not provide execution information for the blocking period. KAIST uses virtual speedup to predict performance improvements when specific code lines in parallel programs are optimized without actual optimization. Virtual speedup does this by slowing down other threads whenever the target line executes, simulating the actual optimization. KAIST periodically reads on-CPU sampling results of Linux perf to determine whether the target line is being executed. At the end of execution, KAIST estimates performance gains by comparing the intentional slowdown to the real slowdown. KAIST shows profiling results for each code line, with the x-axis representing the speedup of the code line, and the y-axis showing the program's performance improvement. However, code's virtual speedup is limited to only on-CPU events since it utilizes the sampling result from Linux bperf. Certain profilers identify bottlenecks through off-CPU analysis. The state-of-the-art off-CPU profiler, bperf, traces all waiting events occurring during execution and analyzes their dependencies. bperf reports a wafer graph which represents dependencies between threads. Each node indicates threads, while each edge indicates waiting relationship between threads. bperf identifies bottlenecks by pinpointing closed loops within the graph. However, bperf has two limitations to profiling applications with mixed of on and off CPU events. Firstly, since bperf does not collect information for on-CPU events, it lacks context-aware information about identified bottlenecks, making it challenging to perform actual optimizations. Furthermore, bperf does not provide information on the performance impact and optimizing identified bottlenecks, which can lead to optimizing points that do not actually improve performance. Here's the summary of the limitations of existing profilers. Firstly, they focus only on either on-CPU or off-CPU events. Therefore, the analysis of all types of events simultaneously is needed. Secondly, the causality analysis is not supported for off-CPU events. Therefore, the causality analysis on both on and off-CPU events is necessary. Block samples, which is our approach, supports simultaneous sampling of both on and off-CPU events with causality analysis. To address the limitations, we propose block samples technique to obtain simultaneous sampling results of both on and off-CPU events. Block samples is a technique for sampling off-CPU events that Linux bperf previously could not capture. By using block samples, we can integrate on and off-CPU events information into a single sampling result. By using this sampling result, we propose two profilers to analyze application bottlenecks: bperf, a sampling-based statistical profiler, and BCOZ, a causal profiler. The core profiling information collected by block samples includes the following. First, it collects the last instruction pointer and call chain before the thread is blocked. Second, it collects the off-CPU subclass that identifies the reason for each blocking. Currently, subclasses are categorized as blocking I/O, log waiting, CPU scheduling, and others. Finally, the wait field within a single sample is used to record the count of these repetitive identical samples. Although only one physical sample is recorded to reduce the collecting overhead, the wait value indicates the number of logical samples that has to be processed by bperf and BCOZ. bperf, which is a sampling-based statistical profiler, processes block samples alongside on-CPU samples by extending the Linux bperf tool. While the original Linux bperf tool classifies samples using the samples instruction pointer and call chain, bperf additionally utilizes the off-CPU subclass. Thus, even if samples have the same instruction pointer and call chain, off-CPU events are accounted for as separated entries. Collected results for block samples are reported as follows. First, bperf lists the off-CPU subclass of block samples and prints a new symbol annotation. Additionally, when reporting block samples, bperf prints both the last user-level instruction pointer and the last kernel-level instruction pointer before the block. This allows users to gain an in-depth understanding of off-CPU events. BCOZ extends codes to perform virtual speedup, including block samples. When two threads are running and function B performed by thread 2 causes blocking I/O, and if B is a target of virtual speedup, the original code operates as follows. Code utilizes only the on-CPU part of the B, thus predicting a marginal speedup for B. However, the actual performance gain from optimizing B is greater than this predicted speedup. BCOZ utilizes block samples. It is possible to get a virtual speedup that includes the blocking I/O effect of function B. Thus, BCOZ shows the following speedup prediction for B, and user can see that optimizing B is most important. The biggest challenge when implementing BCOZ was that the virtual speedup of block samples has conflict with some optimization feature of original codes. This conflict was related to the code's dependency handling and batch processing of collected samples. But we resolved this conflict to yield the correct virtual speedup. For more details, please see the paper. Here are the environments in which we profile the applications. The key questions we aim to answer are, can block samples identify the true bottleneck? How do the results differ from those of bperf? And the profiling overhead. For a detailed analysis of the profiling overhead, please see the paper. Here's a summary of our profiling results. In this presentation, we will discuss the detailed profiling results of running all random and prefix list on RocksDB. Firstly, the problem when running an all random workload with a small block cache is frequent read I/O occurring on filter, index, and data blocks. During the serving of a get operation, each worker thread sequentially searches one SS table per level in the LSM tree. It reads the filter block of each SS table first, determines the presence of data, and if none is found, proceeds to the next level for search. Index and data block reads occurs only at the level where actual data exists. In this execution, a small block cache leads to frequent read I/O. Among the assessed blocks, I/O on filter blocks occurs most frequently. Our block samples reports the need for optimizing blocking I/O with detailed context information. bperf reports that the blocking I/O caused by p-read has the highest overhead. It also identifies 3 different call chains that invokes p-read, I/O of filter, index, and data blocks, and their overheads. BCOZ shows the impact of optimization on read operations for different block types, including blocking I/O. Through BCOZ, the need for optimizing filter block I/O can be identified. bperf shows that each worker thread is waiting for I/O completion, indicating that blocking I/O is bottleneck and is true. However, the context information related to blocking disk I/O are missing, which means filter, index, and data blocks in this use case. Our optimization involves utilizing asynchronous I/O for broad read operations. We asynchronously request filter block I/O and concurrently request filter block I/O for the next level until the I/O completes. Particularly at the last level, where data is more likely to exist, we asynchronously request both filter block I/O and index block I/O. By reducing the amount of blocking I/O event by 74%, we were able to increase the overall throughput by 1.8 times. In the second use case, which is running prefix list with large block cache, the problem lies in block cache lock contention. When each worker thread accesses the block cache for operations such as lookup, insert, and release, the ARLU-based block cache handles concurrency through as coarse-grained single lock. Therefore, the frequent block cache access leads to lock contention. In the second use case, block samples reports the need for optimizing lock contention with detailed context information. bperf reports that the lock weighting when assessing block cache has the highest overhead, while the blocking I/O shows marginal overhead. It also identifies 2 different call chains that leads to lock weighting and their overheads. BCOZ shows the impact of optimization on lock weighting events, especially get data block from cache. Through BCOZ, the need for optimizing lock contention rather than blocking I/O can be identified. bperf shows that each worker thread is waiting for I/O completion and other worker threads, blocking I/O and log waiting, respectively. However, application code that related to log waiting is missing, and since bperf does not provide the causality analysis, users cannot know that the gain from optimizing blocking I/O is marginal before the actual optimization attempts. To optimize lock contention, we utilized a well-known technique called sharding. By reducing the amount of log waiting by 97%, we were able to increase the overall throughput by 3.4 times. At the same time, optimizing blocking disk I/O shows marginal gain, and this was identified by BCOZ. To conclude, we proposed block samples to address the increasing profiling challenges. We implemented bperf for statistical profiling and BCOZ for providing virtual speedup for both on and off CPU events. Block samples serves as a general solution for off CPU sampling. As a future work, we plan to research enriching block samples with the detailed information for device operations. Thank you for the listening, and I'm ready to take your questions.